Climate change is the big story everybody's talking about, and we are all concerned about it. The whole point of this collection is to show the beautiful places that are going to be affected if we don't address climate change and the way we are ruining our planet.
Jill and I went to Antarctica, and at that point I was already thinking and had given a lot of thought to how the planet is being ruined. And when we got there and we saw the pristine world of Antarctica, I thought, I've just got to paint this, and I had to find a way of doing it in a dramatic fashion. Each one is an amalgam of everything that I sense when I'm there, and I take all of that and I put it together, and it coalesces into something like an image of the place. This painting is called Warani because the indigenous people in that part of the Amazon are the Warani tribe, and they've learned how to live in unison with all the wildlife there. And it's an ecosystem that is so deeply interconnected. The Amazon is the lungs of the earth, and unfortunately we're abusing it. And what's going to come out of this in the long run is too scary to even contemplate. I'm an African, and I've been to Kilimanjaro. I've painted the elephants as big tuskers because there are very, very few big tuskers left. They've been hunted out. And of course, this is a very, very endangered place. This is known as the Hanging Glacier. It's in Patagonia. This is a particularly well-known one because it always, in more recent times, it looked like it's hanging on the side of the cliff faces. But in fact, what it is it's just receding. That's the Colorado River, and what I'm trying to tell people over here is that the Colorado River, which incidentally doesn't get to the ocean anymore. The great river that used to exit into the Pacific Ocean, it doesn't do that anymore. And they're taking water away from nature. This is Norway, the Norwegian fjords. I'm afraid we're going to have to learn to be more respectful when we visit these places so that we don't ruin these gorgeous places. Yeah, well, this is what we know as the Ganges. The river's about as dirty as any river can get. And the Indian government is very, very concerned about cleaning it up. It'll need to be cleaned up. But what I wanted to show was that how beautiful it can be when there are fewer people. And also I wanted to put in a spiritual holy man. This is the Cape Kelp Forest, which I was inspired to do when I saw the movie My Octopus Teacher. I thought this is something I really would love to paint. We were fortunate enough, my wife and myself, to meet Pippa Ehrlich, who said she would take me down so that I could see it. It's a very, very tricky painting to paint this because you have to try and paint it in such a way that the depth is diluted by the density of the water. People know it as the Li River, but in Chinese, it's Lijiang. You can see there the tourist boats going down, and people go there in their thousands now. This is Bora Bora, Society Islands. They're building so many resorts that the coral is starting to show signs of wear and tear. There's still a reef like this, but it's diminishing all the time. Whereas what I wanted to do is I wanted to paint it in a pristine way. And I made it a free diver, no tanks or anything like that, because when you free dive like that, you can't stay underwater too long, and so you can't do too much damage. I wanted to show Vedas because it's threatened through climate change, rising seas, and it gets flooded far more often than it ever used to be. But I had to show just how the multitude of boats and things that are continually going up and down the canals. This is the island of Sarawak, which is in the Far East. The forests are being cleared all over Southeast Asia for growing palm oil. And as long as we have a craving for palm oil, I'm afraid they're pretty much endangered forever. What I wanted to show was the glorious smoothness of the planet. So, and when you look at it and you say, this thin blue line, that thin blue line going all the way around is what sustains all life. That's the atmosphere. And if we endanger this thin layer, humanity will disappear.